Wi-Fi podcast. We got so much stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, at first I was like, what are we going to talk about? And then we started writing them down. There's a lot to talk
There's
about.
always a lot. Like people are asking us questions all the time, every single day. So first, we wanted to talk about the economy. There's been everyone's saying that the tech economy is slowing down, like Microsoft and Google are laying off, CDW.
CDW. Yeah, Calvin asked us that question about CDW.
Yeah, but we're not seeing any slowdown. I mean, and it's not. If it does happen, it's not going to happen. Probably till next year.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction. I mean, just because of the way that the Fed lowers and raises interest rates, and they're done. They're done raising pretty much. So they're going to start lowering, but that effect's going to have a lag on the economy probably for about a year.
Yeah.
And, so that all these companies are preemptively, laying off or because they think they're going to see a slowdown, right? And
trying to make adjustments, right?
Yeah, and there's also still a drag from the chip shortage that, distributors can't get products still, so they're needing less people to ship those products they don't have, right?
Yeah, I think we saw that happen probably about a year ago. You saw some people slimming down a little bit because of that issue, right?
Yeah.
Even some of the vendors that couldn't bring in chips and things.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any slowdown. we're because I think Ingenious is positioned pretty well. With the license-free crowd.
We have a huge advantage, I would say.
What?
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
We have a huge advantage, right, with our cloud management system. So, if you're trying to produce more revenue with, you offer current vendors, and you're in a situation where you're trying to get into the SMB market or something like that, you should have a solution that suits that need, that particular need for that market. So that's where we come in. Is the cloud management system is license free. You can pretty much, you can speak to this too. You can pretty much configure most networks with the license-free cloud management. So with a combination of license-free cloud management and also very competitively priced hardware that's managed by that system, it's a really great solution. It's a great offering that a lot of managed service providers, IT service companies can offer to their customers.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have the budget right now, you're going to install a Wi-Fi system. Let's say you're going to go with something like Meraki and you install this, brand new system that you need now, but then in a year, you have to renew all those licenses, and that's a huge, cost to do that, right? And at that point, you may be cutting your budget.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we've run into with most vendors, that the license-free model, for our solution and everything we offer within that solution is a good combination. It's a really good combination.
For sure. And I mean, your cloud is world class too. I mean, if anyone hasn't tried it, the Ingenious Cloud has the features, pretty much same features as Meraki, but, free, license free,
Yeah, it's license free. And then there's a lot of situations where you're not going to use every bell and whistle, right?
Right.
For an environment.
Yeah.
But there's definitely features that you have to have, right?
Yes.
And we offer those have to haves features so we can suit a lot of different networks.
Yes. For sure. All right, so that's that. Now, I wanted to talk about the ENH500AX, which is the Wi-Fi 6 bridge. Now, that's one of the first Wi-Fi 6 point-to-point bridges out there, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so we just got them in, and I did a test, short distance test, 30, 40 feet between the pair, and I was getting 900 megabits per second through that bridge pair. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good because I know the Wi-Fi 5, 11AC Wave 2 bridges, that pretty much is all that's out there, right? Before this. Those would have a connection rate of 866, and maybe they'd get 400 meg throughput maximum, right?
Yeah, still pretty good. Yeah, so our testing, we tested at 250 feet and we were getting 8 to 900, somewhere around there.
8 to 900.
That
So,
was outdoor. That was not, they weren't mounted really high. I think they were mounted 10 feet up,
yep.
shooting through some trees, not a lot of trees, but some trees.
Okay.
So we are seeing like 850 to 900, somewhere around there.
Nice. Yeah, so let's talk about the point to point a little bit. So yeah, like you said, you can at a quarter-mile range, you could go through light tree cover, and you're not going to have a huge effect. But I would still recommend having a clear line of sight, because
Always clear line of
well,
sight.
you should always have a clear line of sight. But we know people use them when there's like light tree cover too. And I mean, the problem
Yeah.
is when the weather changes, if it snows or rains, then you'll get a spotty coverage.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you deploy like maybe at the end of winter where there's no leaves or anything
Yeah.
like that, and then you have summer come in and everything fills out, then you could run into some issues there.
Right.
And we always, yeah, there's always somebody out there that's going to go, oh, I don't want to run this cable. I'm not going to trim any trees. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they just go for it, which is that's not. We don't recommend it.
It's not the best practice, right? What is the best practice is to have a clear line of sight between the 2 points, and to have it high enough off the ground to like clear, the Fresnel zone, the earth bulge, and all that stuff, right? So the further you go, the higher it should be off the ground. Basically, maybe at a mile, maybe you need like 30 feet off the ground, something like that.
Yeah, I would even go higher.
Yeah, even higher maybe. So basically, if you're just going across the street to a building, it doesn't matter. You just have them aimed.
You can be on top of the building.
On top of the building, on the side of the building, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But as you're trying to go over, I'd say like a quarter mile, you have to really make sure you have a good line of sight and have the unit high enough off the building and mount it out away from the building a little bit, maybe even, to get that link up there good.
Yeah, I would say most situations we run into are a mile or less.
Right.
And most situations are probably about 750 feet, maybe 1,000 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Most of them
they're actually fairly short, right?
Most of
They're
them are
shooting
really
out
short.
to like a parking lot. They're shooting across to another building. They're they're pretty simple. So like with the 11AX, you're just going to see way faster speeds with that particular device.
For sure. And if you actually wanted to go 5 miles, you'd have to be on a tower probably 100 feet off the ground, right? Like to have that line of sight, clear earth bulge, and everything else, you would need to have like a real legit tower to go that long a distance.
Yeah, you're either putting up the tower yourself or you're renting space on that tower.
Right, exactly. So that doesn't happen that often. With unlicensed equipment, I would say it might.
It used to happen a lot. It still happens, but you start to get into license, like
yeah, and I mean it may happen for wireless ISPs where they have space on a tower, and then they have a CPE device at the house, or they in communities that have mountains where you have you could have a line of sight to the houses down below, right? You could have your tower up in the mountain area, but it all gets really tricky.
Yeah. But it's surprising how many people we have like shooting over a mountain, getting down to like a cabin or to like a very small town. That it happens more than what you would think.
It's possible, but this brings the speeds up to the next level. So ENH500AX are in stock. All right, so what else do we want to talk about? Something exciting. We're going to give away an access point. Yeah, so what is that? Which one is that?
This is the 220, ECW220S.
The 220S?
Which is
okay, nice.
Yeah, I stepped it up. It is a 2x2 11AX, one of our more popular access points. The S stands for security because there is a scanning radio within this access point that can do a couple different things. One, it can do whips and wids, like air guard security. Mm-hmm. We just added some features to cloud, so you can check them out when you're in there. But so you can use zero weight DFS with this particular device. And it also helps you with dynamic channel selection as well because of that scanning radio kind of supports that. Doesn't disrupt your client devices when it's doing a scan.
Right.
So, and it also has BLE on that particular device. So it offers a lot. So yeah, the ECW220S is the one that we're going to give away.
Nice. So it's a Wi-Fi 6 access point with 3 radios, and one's a dedicated scanning radio. So nice, and you can add it to the Ingenious Cloud. Now, anyone that hasn't used the Ingenious Cloud, this is a great way to try it out. You're getting this very expensive piece of hardware, and you can put it in there and start your Ingenious Cloud account, right?
Yeah, well, the other thing that we should say too, you're not only getting the AP, right? So every one of our cloud devices comes with 1 year free Pro. So you just heard Jeff and I talk about our license-free model. We have a license-free model, so you could use this AP with the license-free model. You could
use it forever.
You can go into any network and you can set this up and it will run no problem. But if you're looking for more advanced features like My PSK, right, individual PSKs for users, you would move into the Cloud Pro suite. But you don't have to have that. But we do provide a free license so our customers can check out those Pro features. And so this device would come with a Pro license, so you can check it out for a year, see if you need it, like it. It has a lot of diagnostic tools like packet capturing and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, that's really, the packet capturing stuff's really cool. And I mean, this actually has a spectrum analyzer built into it too.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
It's got a professional spectrum analyzer in there. You can actually look at the environment, look for signatures of interference. So it's a really nice access point.
All right, so how can they get this? So what they have to do is, this video is being streamed live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, go over to YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write a comment under there with, just so I can see your name. So then once we get 10 likes and subscribes, then we'll pick from those people one person to get the free access point. And any person that can't get it, somebody that's already got one maybe, or I don't know.
Oh, is there any rules tied to that?
Yeah, what are the rules? Like, we don't want to give it out to somebody that already has a bunch of them, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you're looking for news, likes and subscribes, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like and subscribe and write a comment, and we'll pick from those 10. We'll wait till we get 10. We should get that real quick, though, because it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
All right, so what else do we want to talk about? Oh, one last thing. You wanted to talk about the SSID tunneling.
Yeah, so I would say late May we will support a new feature. There's several features that have been launched within Cloud. So there's a lot going on within Cloud. There's new alerts on firmware. So if there's like a firmware update, you'll be alerted. There's things like that already in there. There's one feature that's coming up. It's really interesting. It's called Support SSID based IPsec VPN tunneling. So you can actually set up an SSID with VPN, and it will VPN back to your corporate office. So, I'm working from home, and I'm an employee of the company, and I use that SSID. I'm actually VPNing back to the company, the corporate, using that SSID. All the other SSIDs can, just go through normal traffic.
Your family could be using it, whatever, and it's just normal traffic. Now, and that VPN does not require any additional hardware. It just goes through the access point to the endpoint.
To the endpoint. So the setup would happen with either our ESG510, and I believe there will be a setup, security setup for the VPN as well.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I haven't seen the layout yet, but that is coming shortly. So that's a pretty cool feature.
That's going to be a cool feature, and I know a lot of the remote office or work from home scenarios, they want that feature.
Yes, definitely.
It makes it easier because then they don't have to worry about putting additional software on the laptop or smartphone that the employees are using.
Yeah, you're just connecting to that SSID. I as an IT administrator, I could set up 20 of these. Actually, I would go into Cloud, set up an SSID, and I could group configure those access points.
Yeah.
Ship those access points out to the remote worker.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the remote worker just sees the SSID, connects to it, Larry's home, connect, and it's on a VPN back to the corporate office.
Right, super easy. All right, that sounds good. I'm going to test it out as soon as we get it. All right, so remember to like and subscribe and write a comment to get that free access point, and we'll be back next week.